Hello there, my name is Bright, and I'll be talking you through state and state management in programming. And to better understand this concept, we are going to define it in two kinds of aspects. One is out of programming, and the other is now in programming. Now, for out of programming, state is defined as the condition someone or something is at a point in time. That's the definition according to the dictionary. Now, you can picture this in this form. You can be either married or unmarried. You can be rich or poor. A vehicle can be fast or slow. That's what we call its state or its status. For in now, when we go into programming, state is the current data in memory associated with the app at a particular point in time. So, what does this really mean in essence? When you launch your app, for instance, Instagram on your phone, usually there's an initial data that is loaded into your RAM so that the app can actually display itself. It can work some maybe a background service or fetch some records, maybe reels or pictures for Instagram. Yeah, this can also include some metadata such as your username, the mode. It can be light mode or dark mode and stuff like that. So all these variables, not all of them in essence, but some of them are usually stored in the app's state, and that is stored in the RAM. That is to be able to, instead of having to query all the time from the server, making HTTP requests to the server to get records, you can actually access, you can just make a single call and then access all that data in the state of the app. Yeah, so I'm going to use this example of a login form in a website or maybe any app that you can log in into. So you can put your username, your password, and then you click on the submit button. Now, before you click the submit button, the app state or the current state of the app is recorded in the RAM as loading being false. So we have stored the state of loading of the app as false because the app is not loading right now. It's just displaying the input form. But when I click on submit, a change will happen. And that change will now change the state from not loading to loading. So now we are loading data to the server. Maybe we are sending a HTTP request to the server to the login request, then we are going to get a response. So what has happened is the app has changed from state of not loading to loading. So that's what state is, because we have the data in the RAM, and then we are just manipulating and playing with that data, maybe fetching it and changing it in real time, or in runtime rather. Yeah, so now we're going to discuss state management. State management is using design pattern that helps to synchronize the state of an application, because state itself has to be managed by a design pattern, and these design patterns can span to a variety, because different technologies or frameworks use different design patterns. For instance, we can use Redux in React. For Flutter, we can use Provider, Block, and there is some other more that I have not mentioned. There is Vuex in Vue.js. So depending on the platform you're using, you can use these design patterns to manage your state. But the concept of state is still the same across all these platforms. Now, the last thing I'm going to discuss is the importance of state management. And the first thing I'm going to mention about it is that it helps you organize your code, because having a cleaner code is just better in many ways. You can debug your code better. You can work with a large team. You can have a large code base, and that will just make your work easier in terms of being productive. And the second reason as to why you need to manage your state is to reduce requests made to the server. The example of Instagram, for instance, let's say they have to, this is just based on an assumption because I'm not sure of how they actually implement their functionality, but I'm just assuming that instead of them fetching the username or your username all the time from the server when they're loading some content on the page, they could just fetch it once. Once you have logged in, they fetch that data once, like your username and your profile picture, and then they store it in the state. So when you go to the comment section, when you're writing down a comment, instead of trying to fetch your username and your profile picture again and again and again to display on the comments, just uses the one on the state. So that's what state management is for. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching and sticking around. If you like it, drop a like, and if you want more videos like this in future, consider subscribing. Yeah, kudos.